So today my talk is a journey from illness to wellness. So we'll define what is illness, we'll define what is wellness and how we can take that journey. Journey is not a shortcut, it is not a magic, but it is possible to maintain a healthy well-being till the last moment of your life. That is possible. So this DNA, all of you know what is DNA, I think. Can you raise your hand? You know DNA, you heard about DNA?
We have heard. We have heard.
You have heard DNA, very good. So DNA is the basis, or it is the molecule which has programmed life on earth. From bacteria to man, from any plants, any living beings, anything which is living has DNA or RNA. The viruses which had tormented the whole world, the COVID pandemic, this was an RNA virus. But that has to convert it into a DNA to attack people and then infect you. So people have come to know about the DNA test, at least the RT-PCR test. So that has made the molecule very popular around the world. It has become a household name. So inDNA is a platform which, when I came back, I thought of creating a platform where we will look in DNA to find solutions for life. So our main goal was to find solutions for life in DNA. That means there are some problems, and those problems arise from DNA. So what is health? We will define what is health, and then genetic basis of health, metabolic basis, metabolic balance, nutrigenomics, and then finally conclude as to how we can hack, the word hack, our health for wellness. Hacking has become a very common word today. We hack things. So we can hack our health also, we can hack our DNA also to be good, to live well. So what do we want? All of us. Everybody wants to live for 100 years. Okay. So the biological life of a human being is 120 years. It is programmed in your DNA. So every human being has a biological lifespan of 120 years. But very few, okay, less than 0.1% even hit 90, 89, 90. So what makes us not achieve our target of 120 years? There are hundreds of factors. But everybody wants to live 100 years. Then people don't want diseases and sicknesses at all. How many of you want to live in ICU, go to hospitals, get surgeries done, pop up pills and medicines? Nobody. And you must have enough money to enjoy your life. And you should also have a lot of energy, stamina, joy, happiness around you. That is all the goal you have. This forum is not about religion and politics, so I am not talking about that. But this is what is the goal all of us want, to have a healthy life, to have stamina, energy, joy, happiness, and enough money to enjoy. So if you can see that there is a transition in the last 25-30 years, if I can say, most importantly in the last 10 years, that we have gone deeper and deeper into the understanding of our cells. Previously, when doctors write, you have to get some tests done. So first thing which comes to your mind is blood test. So get your blood, go and get the sugar test, your enzymes, your protein, liver function, kidney function, all this. But today with technology, blood test was not enough or not needed for COVID detection. Though COVID is infecting your health, but blood was not required for COVID test. We had to take saliva swab, our swab, and that swab the throat swab had the virus, and the virus RNA was isolated in the lab and it was converted into DNA, and that DNA quantity was detected. And that was a test, confirmatory test, that you were infected with COVID virus. So the DNA test became popular. Even a rickshaw puller or an auto driver or any common man knew that a COVID test confirmatory is RT-PCR test. And government of Odisha worked, I must tell in this forum, I was closely working with the government during that period. When COVID happened, okay, we were all stuck. The government approached us, we were the only DNA laboratory in the state and asked, can you do the test? Then we told, yes, we can. So within 15-20 days, we set up a COVID testing laboratory, got ICMR approval, and then started doing the test. And we were charging about 2,500-3,000 rupees. Other states were charging 5,000 rupees per RT-PCR. Within 15-20 days, there was a direction from the Chief Minister's office. We have to decrease the price to 1,800 rupees. I'm talking about 2020, August. And then suddenly September end, 1,100. Then another meeting in third floor. How much we can reduce because common man cannot pay so much. Then I told we can make it under 500. Under 500. Then we tell yes. Shalini Pandit ma'am is like okay, let's do that. So we were the first state in the whole country. We offered COVID test at 400 rupees. When Bombay was charging 5,000, Delhi was charging 5,000, Bengal was charging 5,000, 4,000. We were charging 400 rupees. And they were telling, how are you? How can you do that? And we are only doing for the people. There is no profit here. And we made the companies, Thermo Fisher and others, to manufacture the kits here in India and give us. So RMRC, ICMR, Sangamitra madam, all of us convinced those companies. And we started doing the test in Odisha. And then what happened? After that, the news spreaded, we were having national meetings and then all other states followed. And then they had to do it under 1,000. But still, Calcutta was charging 1,100 rupees, 1,000 rupees. But we were charging 350, 400. So we have moved from cell-based assays to DNA-based assays. DNA-based assay or DNA-based testing was possible. And COVID was one of the examples. Though it was possible before, but people started knowing it more and it became more and more common. Next slide. So, if you see with human eye, you can see a human being or a bird or even an egg. You can see with naked human eye, chicken egg. You can also see a frog egg, up to frog egg. But after that, you need special microscope to see smaller particles. So we have invented now in the last 100 years that the microscopes have become so powerful or the instruments have become so powerful that we can even see smaller atoms or even subatomic particles. So that technology scale has made us enter a new world. What is this new world? So this new world is the world of microorganisms, the world inside us. How many of you know that we have more microorganisms, more bacteria inside our body than the whole number of cells? We have human cells, right? And these human cells, our skin cell, heart cell, kidney cell, liver cell, lung cell, these cells, if you take them aside, the number of bacteria will be more than them. And that is inside our body. And they are smaller than the cells. So we are having a whole organism inside, microorganism. And we are okay with it. We are healthy. If we don't have those microorganisms, we may die. They are making vitamins, they are making micronutrients, they are helping us. There are some very good bacteria inside our body, but there are bad microorganisms also which causes diseases. But the bad bacteria are less, the good bacteria are much higher. And so there is a huge world inside. We do not know. If we go inside that world, it is completely different. It's a different world altogether. Next slide. So, as we are going towards DNA and understanding life at the molecular basis, molecular level, the concept of medicine changed. Medicine became more and more precise. It is called precision medicine. So about a decade and a half back, when Barack Obama was the president, American president, he declared that America will form a precision medicine forum, a precision medicine group. What is precision medicine? Precision medicine is delivering the right treatment to the right person for the right disease at the right time. You cannot have the same prescription for everyone. Every person is unique. Even the fever, two people are actually presenting different fevers. So, particularly cancers, different these cancers, even breast cancer, there are 40, 50 different types of breast cancer today. Breast cancer is not only breast cancer. What type of breast cancer? What type of lung cancer? So, the diseases started being defined at the precision level, and that is the future of the medicine was declared at that time. Now future is already arrived, future is already here, and precision medicine is being practiced. Next slide. So as we move from the symptom based or the intuition based, what is intuition based medicine? Now when you go to a doctor, the doctor will see you, examine you, and maybe he will have an intuition. I think you are suffering from jaundice. Your symptoms tells me that you are suffering from influenza, or you are suffering from typhoid, or you may have this fever, or you may have this disease. That's intuition based, that is experience, the doctor is feeling about it. Then we have evidence based medicine. Nowadays all doctors, they will write you some tests, and that is, the tests are done and you have evidence. Yes, these are the parameters which has gone wrong. That is called evidence based medicine. Maybe future, very soon, we will have algorithm, data based medicine. What is that? Now with artificial intelligence and so much of computing power, your DNA is being decoded. We know the sequence of your DNA, say for example, you have a card, DNA card with you like an ATM card. With that you will have the data of your entire genome, and in that which are the things you are allergic, which are the things you can metabolize, which food you cannot have, which are the drugs you are sensitive, what kind of disease you have, what are the diseases you may have in future. Every data will be there, and that is the card you have, that's called your genome card. Okay, that is algorithm based medicine. Next slide. So we are moving from personalization, every person, and then precisely looking at the disease, looking at the illness. Now, next. So the genome code, which is 3.4 billion. Now our genome, our DNA, is made up of only 4 different types of chemicals. Let us not get into the complicated things scientifically, making it very simple for you. So your DNA is made up of 4 basic type of nitrogenous chemicals. They are A, T, G, C, adenine, thymine, guanine and cytosine. These 4 chemicals. Say if you in English literature you have 26 alphabets to write literature, God has taken only 4 letters to write the entire life on earth, A, T, G, C. So if your DNA is done and the DNA is put inside a cell, the cell becomes alive. So this ATGC, you have 3.4 billion in one cell. In one cell. Now you have trillions of cells. Now how many letters you have? Now that was sequenced for 10 years. It was the Human Genome Project, one of the largest projects mankind had taken. US, UK and Japan, these 3 governments, they put in money and they have decoded. And when Bill Clinton was the president, he thought we know how God has written the book of life, that is DNA is decoded in the year 2001. Next. But how do you know to read the whole book of life? We only know the letters. Say you are having a novel and you have all the chapters, you know the letters A, T, G, C, but you do not know the meaning of all the letters. We only know the meaning of few letters. That is the status now, because you have billions. Next. So we are in an era of precision health. What is precision health? I was talking to you for the last 5-10 minutes. Let us assume, just click there. So it is an earth. So earth looks like this in a satellite picture. Now on this picture, it's a beautiful picture from satellite. You zoom in, put one more click. Here it is India. So on earth picture, you zoom in, you get India. Then you see Odisha there. You zoom in, you just click another. There you see where is Bhubaneswar. We are in Sahid Nagar. That's it. There. And then you click further, you go into inDNA. inDNA is in Patia Square, Info City Road. So this is like you are seeing the human body, and in the body you go to the organ. In the organ you go to the cells. In the cells you go to the DNA. In the DNA you go to the genes. And in the genes you find what is the change. And that change is creating the disease. That is called the precision medicine. Next. Yeah, next. So if DNA is the software of our body in a code, who writes it? Who writes the code? Who is the coder? Now the coder is us. We write the code. How? I'll tell you. All of you agree that we start the journey of this life as a single cell in your mother's womb. All of you agree that? Your father has contributed 23 chromosomes in the form of sperm. 60-65 million sperms were ejaculated and only one sperm could enter the egg. And that one sperm had only 23 pairs of chromosomes. And then egg had another 23. So 46 chromosomes. And then one cell is formed. That is zygote. That is this. So zygote is the single cell from which this whole body is formed. Do you agree? All of you. So that is what happens. So from single cell we are born as a human being in 38 weeks, about 9.5 months. Next. So the cells multiply. From one cell you have 2 to 4, 4 to 16, 16, 16, and then you have a group of cells slowly forming the first trimester, second trimester, third trimester, and the baby is born. Now this is one of the greatest miracles in the universe, because the complexity of the human body is such that in this 9 months period from one cell, such a huge complex being is formed is such a miracle. We still have not completely decoded it. Next slide. So you can see from that single cell, there are 4 and 16, and then you have this 9 months, you have from DNA to being and then to human. This journey is an amazing journey. To some extent, we can track this journey. We can take the cells when the mother is pregnant. We can see whether the fetus has certain faulty genes. For example, there is thalassemia, there is sickle cell anemia in some of the Odisha districts here, and the family is running. Now, the pregnant mother is worried whether the child inside is thalassemia positive or negative. What is she going to deliver? What we can do is, we can take her blood. Her blood has the floating DNA of the fetus, little bit. The fetus sheds DNA every day inside the body. And the mother's blood has those circulating DNA. We can isolate those DNA. We can sequence it and see whether it is normal sickle cell thalassemia or there is a thalassemia gene affected. And we can say, give a report to the mother that your fetus is normal, don't worry, it doesn't have the thalassemia affected. The mother is very happy. This is called prenatal diagnosis. Before the birth, the diagnosis can be done. This kind of technologies are available. But still, we do not know exactly the entire program of creating a human being. Okay, from that 3.4 billion basis of the genome. Next slide. So this is how we look into the lab. So the DNA is formed in the chromosomes. We have 23 pairs of chromosomes. In the photograph they look like this under the microscope. We can see the genes there and pair the genes, and we can do analysis and see whether which gene is defective, which gene is normal, and then give reports. Next. So, as I was talking about, 3.4 billion such letters, ATGC, is present in your cell, which can be analyzed and can be studied to find the defect in your genes. Next. Epigenetics. I just want to introduce the term. I was talking about the software, the DNA. Now once you inherit the DNA from your mother and father, and you are having that genetics in your body, I told that from single cell, all your cells are formed. You cannot change that structure, that physical structure of the DNA. If you have a genetic defect, Okay, you have inherited. Every cell in your body has that genetic defect because it is from that single cell. So it has Xerox copied, so that defect is also Xerox. So you have that defect, right? But the good part is there are some changes which are temporary in the genome. Those changes are called epigenetic changes. For example, a child from its pre-adolescence, about 8, 9, 10 years, eats lot of sugar and fat and becomes this, studies in international school, okay, doesn't play around, okay, and become obese. The child was not programmed to become obese. The environment, the lifestyle has made the child to become obese. The genome is not there to make it obese. Genome is there to prevent obesity. But the child has acquired those marks. They actually work at the epigenetic point of view. Your genome is changed with chemical modification, which is called epigenetics, which can control the function of the genes or gene expression. Next slide. So in our genome, this epigenetics happens by chemical modifications all the time. The food we eat, okay, the people we meet, the environment we live, the exposures, the addictions, cigarette, alcohol, all this can have impact on your genome, okay, positively or negatively. Next slide. Now, the physical structure when a child is born in a family, the first thing people ask, okay, how is the child? Does it look like the father or the mother? The father's mother, the mother-in-law of the child's mother will say, oh, definitely like the father. There is no question. It looks like the father. The eyes are like the father. The hair is like probably the mother, wrinkled hair. All these physical structures will be discussed as if some new miracle has happened and they are going to see, decode. That is called phenotype. Phenotype is your physical structure, whether the skin is dark or skin is fair, whether the hair is wrinkled or eyes are normal or blue or hazel, all this. Next. And there are certain characteristics in every family. Every family has certain characteristics. We call it pedigree, which runs in the family. Then we have, next slide. This is symptoms, physically how the child looks like. Next. But if you look at the DNA of the child, suppose I take the DNA of all of you sitting here. Believe me, 98.5%, 98.5% of the genome of all of us are same. Same. We have same genome. There is no change. Then you may say, how come we are so different? Somebody is having long nose, somebody has wrinkled hair, somebody has puffy eyes, somebody is long, tall. Okay, how? I told you 3.4 billion letters are there in one cell genome. If 1% changes, you see how much of changes. 1% of 3.4 billion is how much? You know. And permutation combination. Even supercomputer cannot give you a program of what will be the type of that person. That is the diversity we have on Earth. We have 8 billion people on Earth today, 8.5 billion. And everyone is unique. Even the twins, they look like same, but they have different behavioral patterns. Next slide. Yeah, next. You see this guy, all of you know him? Huh? Oh, good. Anil Kapoor. He looks like Salman Khan, but he is Anil Kapoor. What is his age? What is his age? Huh? More than that. He is Dhalsa's age. Okay, but he looks younger, right? He has maintained himself. Next. Who's this guy? Yeah. 2 years elder to him. 2 years. The difference between their age is only 2, but he looks like his father. Right? Next. You see who's she? She is Anil Kapoor's daughter, Sonal. She has inherited father's genes. She also exercises, keeps a good physique and good lifestyle. Look at the other one. Can you click? Another one. Another, yes. He is the son of Monica. He was this fat. How much ever he tries to become slim, again within 3 months he becomes fat. So this is genetics. I am giving you a demonstration of genetics, how genetics play a role. Okay? This is genes playing role here. Next. So I told you about DNA methylation. Methylation is a methyl group, it's a chemical, and this chemical actually goes, I told you ATGC, 4 letters. In the C, the cytosine has methylation, methyl group attached. And how many methyl group will be attached to how many C's, your genes, your behavior of the DNA will change. This is called epigenetic modification. That is based on your lifestyle, on your way of living. Next. Next. So, according to Charles Darwin, life is a competition of genes and mind. Mind is very important here because it is the mind or the spirit or your confidence or your motivation, okay, which drives your body. Body doesn't, if the body starts driving the mind, then the body always wants air condition at 18 degrees, ice cream, good lunch, nice coke of beer, and then movie, and all the time relaxation. This is what the body will want. But the mind will say, no, 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 they are all bad habits. I cannot afford them. I don't have so much of money. I will not waste on this kind of product. I will have healthy living. This is the mind will tell this. So, it is a competition. So, winners and there are losers also. There are winners and there are losers in the life. How genes and mind play. Okay, next. What is mind? Little philosophy. Now when I told you a child is born, child is about 6, 7, 8 months depending on mother's milk, and then child starts eating food, and then slowly the child has become a toddler it drags itself on the floor and then becomes toddler, start toddling, and suddenly one day the child looks at the mirror, and in the mirror the child recognizes itself that I am moving, the image is moving, I am moving this side, the image is moving, I am putting the hand, the image is putting the hand. So the child starts playing with itself on the mirror, and for the first time it is recognizing itself. There lies the problem. All the problem starts from there because mind starts acting. Till then the child was under the care of the loving mother. The mother was feeding it time to time, the mother was taking care of it, mother was feeding. Now the child starts having its independent thought process. It is becoming more and more, I want this, I will not eat vegetables, I will eat chips, I will eat this, I will eat ice cream, I will eat chocolate, I will not do this, I will not. The ego comes in. First time the ego hits is on the mirror. When the child starts thinking, I am an individual, I must have my own preferences, okay? There your mind starts dictating. Next. Next. So there are 8 dimensions of wellness. You have emotional, that is your mind, how your mind is working. You have social, like this beautiful social gathering, all of us are friends of each other, know each other since last 15-20 years. If anybody is having any problem, others coming to help him, or you meet, that's a social life, you have a social standing. You have occupational, what you do, what is your profession. If you are working in a petrol pump, okay, as a petrol pump worker, you are inhaling the crude petroleum all the time, about 10 hours a day, you are inhaling. You don't know, right? You are inhaling. Now that crude petroleum is damaging your DNA, your cell, every day. So a petrol pump workers working in a petrol pump for 6, 7, 8 years, 10 years can suffer from many other diseases. Occupation. Then you have financial problem, whether you are having a lot of money or no money, both are problem. Then you have environmental, where you are living. You live in Noida, you live in Delhi, you live in Chennai or you live in beautiful Bhubaneswar. It depends. Physical. What is your physical status? Are you physically active? Are you physically training yourself? Intellectual. How much you know about yourself? Some people think with less intellectual that I used to go to villages in Karnataka during my PhD days with my madam to counsel. You know why? In Karnataka, there is a custom of mama marriage. It's there in some parts of Odisha also. So the mama gets married to the sister's daughter. There, the genetic disease is very high because you have less diversity, and if two genes in the family, same gene is defective in the mother side and the brother side, those same genes will come and contribute to the child to have a defective gene. So that mama marriage used to tell that it is not good for your health for future generations. Don't practice. Have marriage outside your community, outside your family. Intellectually they will say, we want to preserve the genes in our own family. We will not marry outside our own family. I mean, what is this? What nonsense is this? So that is different kinds of intellectual your concept. Spiritual. This is a topic I can give lecture in another way. Spiritually, whether you are uplifted, inclined, aligned, you have very high level of wellness in your body. That is much is true, because if you see all the sadhus and all the monks in different orders, I am associated with the Ramakrishna order, I see the monks, they are hardly sick and they live everybody 85, 90, 95 years. Okay, next. So there is a spectrum of illness and wellness. Here, this is one important slide. What is illness? Your disability. Suppose somebody is not able to walk, somebody is not able to have a balance of his body, or somebody is not able to talk, somebody is not able to think, somebody is not able to digest certain food. Disability. Then you have symptoms. You have symptoms of discomfort in your body. Or if you have signs of diseases like high temperature, fever, you have a tumor, you have a sleep apnea, or you have any other symptoms in your body, there all these can be treatable. There are treatment regimes about it. Treatment is corrective measures. Now treatment can be symptomatic, can be temporary, and can be long term from the root cause. There are different ways of treatment. It is whether you are seeing the iceberg on the tip or you are seeing the iceberg, why the iceberg is there at some place. When you go to higher level, if you have good awareness about your health, you are educated about your health, and you grow, you don't stop. You are, see, as somebody, all of you are, I am very happy to see that all of you, the average age of this hall will be about 62 and a half, 63 years, average age if I take right now. At 62, you are thinking that let me go and hear to a stupid young fellow who has come and talk something about health. Why have you come here? Because you are interested in yourself. You are interested to grow. You are interested to know more. You are interested to implement something which is good for your health. That's why you are here. And that's a great thing. And I must compliment all of you about this. It's really a praiseworthy thing. On a Sunday holiday, you are here listening to some health talk. So, as you have awareness and you know where to correct yourself, how to correct yourself, and you grow on an everyday scale, that is wellness. That is wellness. So, wellness is not a static thing that I am very well today, I will be like this forever. No, it is not like that. Wellness is a continuum, because we ourselves also have a lifespan. Every cell we shed, our skin cells has a lifetime, blood cells has a lifetime, every cell has a lifespan. So how we are keeping them in our body is very important. Next slide. So this is an important slide which we had done some research. That what are the common lifestyle disorders? If I say today, what are the common lifestyle disorders? Now people are having, India is diabetic capital. Every other person is diabetic. Now diabetes is not a disease, it's a disorder. Disorder of insulin metabolism. Nothing else. You don't have to be worried that if once I have diabetes, I will not be able to cure this diabetes ever in my life. No, it is a misconception, it's a myth actually. Now, diabetes is such a condition in your body, it's a metabolic imbalance that it will give rise to hypertension, blood pressure, because you will have sugar in your blood. Suppose you have pure water and you have a salty water, and you measure the pressure of these two waters in a pressure gauge. Your salty water will exert more pressure because the water molecules are not free there. It is hitting the sugar molecule. So, because of that, your pressure, blood pressure increases. Hypertension. All diabetic people are hypertensive. All diabetic people have BP problem, fluctuating BP problem. And as they age, if they have sedentary lifestyle, they have cardiovascular problem, heart problem. They have obesity. Now, if obesity and diabetes and hypertension, these three are there, definitely they will have cardiovascular problem. There is no doubt about it. These three, hypertension, obesity, diabetes, are such a combination that it will lead to cardiovascular. So this is a stress cycle, vicious cycle. One, you start from anywhere. You start from obesity, you go to hypertension, cardiovascular, diabetes. You start with diabetes, hypertension, obesity. So anywhere you start, you will have any one of these four or at least 2 to 3 of this. This is where all of us are suffering. And what are those other things? You see, smoking, alcohol, junk eating, exercise, lack of exercise, work pressure, deadline. Now, I am very sure that you all do not belong to the smartphone generation. You don't belong to it. You have seen the smartphone in front of you, right? We belong to the Android and smartphone both. But our next generation are born with smartphone. Today, I told you about the kid. If the kid is crying, the mother immediately puts a cartoon on the phone and then put the milk. So the child is programmed to see entertainment on the phone, right? The phone is the biggest enemy today because your work pressure deadline. You are all the time available. If you are all the time available, your boss is giving work all the time. Hey, do this. अरे वो फाइल कल भेज देना. अरे तुम्हें इटा कौन करते मु किसी बुझी पाने नहीं एबे कहंतो. So टिके कहि दियंतु. टिके कहि अरे भाई टिके माने it is not your office time. It is your home time. It is your relaxation time. You should work there only in the office, not 24/7. Life has become 24/7 now. 2 a.m. meeting. Where? Because the boss has gone to California. There they will have a meeting in the morning. So here he is sitting here because they will connect in the Zoom and have meeting. Forget the body clock. And this is where the problem is. If your genes, your body, your entire program is evolving since last 50 million years, and we have evolved with the sun. The sun goes up, we go up. The sun goes down, the body goes down. All animals also like that. Now, when the sun goes down and you again work at night, late night, your body, your hormones will be not cooperating with you. They will be revolting against you. And that is not 1 day, 2 days, for months, for years, and we have diseases. Next slide. So, let me give you some health facts. Right-handed people live on an average 9 years longer than left-handed people. Little facts. This is average people have done some study. It takes an interaction of 72 different muscles to produce human speech. I am talking, right? About 70 odd muscles are working to create my speech. There are more bacteria in your mouth than there are people in the world. I just told you.
Very good.
Just mouth. Forget about the whole body. Body to gut, everything I told you, there are more bacteria than all your cells. 8 billion people, we have more than that in your mouth itself. How small they are, how they are nicely, happily there. Okay, next slide. Eating dark chocolate every day reduces risk of heart disease by 1/3. Now this is something which people comfort. Europeans, Americans, they're very good in making statements. So they'll say, oh, some dark chocolates and little bit of wine will be okay, will be fine. Actually, this is not correct. There are more than 1000 chemicals in a cup of coffee, and only 26 have been tested and half cause cancer in rats. So out of 1000 chemicals which is found in coffee, when chemicals means not one type but metabolites, one chemical converted to another. 26 of them have been tested and about 12-13 of them causes cancer, high doses in rats. The human brain stops growing at the age of 18. They don't grow physically. Mentally they grow. How? Now I'll tell you, the best way to remain active is to create newer brain connection. How? By learning new things every day. During your lifetime, you will eat about 60,000 pounds of food. Suppose somebody is living for 80 years. In 80 years, they will eat in their lifetime 60,000 pounds of food which will weigh about 6 elephants. So you have eaten 6 elephants during your lifetime. Okay. Now, there are pioneering breakthroughs coming in this epigenetics and genetic basis of life. First is understanding the genome, how the genome is reacting with the environment, that is must. Then DNA methylation patterns, how the DNA changes as we have different kinds of lifestyles. Epigenetic clocks, biological clock, I just mentioned about one. You have a biological clock. Biological clock is, suppose you wake up at 5:30 every day. You don't need any other clock. 5:30 your eyes open. Somebody has a habit of sleeping at 1 and waking up at 7:30 in the morning. 7:30. Somebody has a biological clock of eating at 1:30, 1:45 lunch. Exactly at 1:35 you will feel very hungry. That is your biological clock has adjusted. Now those biological clocks today does not exist. Why? We don't have a fixed time to eat. We don't have a fixed time to sleep. There is a party somewhere. There is some work somewhere. So this biological clock all the time gets adjusted, readjusted, changes, and then we have some problems. Lifestyle interventions we have to see, and nutritional interventions. These two, the last two, 4 and 5 are solutions. The first 3 are problems. The first 3 are problems, the last 2 are solutions. Next, we'll see how. At inDNA, we are trying to understand nutrigenomics, how each diet is interacting with your DNA. Power of personalized nutrition. How can we tailor diet? Micronutrient optimization. Now let me give you some facts. Because of use of fertilizers, quick fertilizers, the vegetables which we get in the market do not have enough of micronutrients. When I talk about micronutrients, it is not carbohydrate, protein, fat. It is micro essential nutrients like zinc, like magnesium, like copper, iron, calcium. These are all important elements which our body needs. And if you don't have, how much ever food you take, it will not be metabolized properly. So micronutrient optimization, precision supplementation. Like if we don't have, suppose I test all of you now, everyone will be zinc deficient except for Mr. Dhal. I know he takes zinc tablets. Everybody will be zinc deficient. Zinc is a very important essential micronutrient for all your enzymes to act. All of you, you test your vitamins. Vitamin D deficient. You agree? All of you are nodding the head because exposure to sunlight has decreased. Okay, food, you are not eating green leafy vegetables that much quantity. So vitamin D, which is very important for our activity, not only bone formation, not only the cartilage formation, but the activity of enzymes, the activity of all our maintenance enzymes. Nutrigenomics, how we can prevent and treat chronic conditions. Chronic conditions. Some people are suffering from irritable bowel syndrome. Some people are suffering from chronic pain. Some people are suffering from sleep disorder. These are chronic conditions which we can see. If you just balance this, body takes care. Body is a miracle machine. We don't have to do anything to the body. Just balance all this, body will take care of itself. Now, future of personalized nutrition. So, thy food is thy medicine. Let us not depend on chemical drugs. Let us depend on food. Maybe macro food or micro food. Next slide. So, there are pioneering breakthroughs on this. I'll skip this slide. Next slide. So, what you eat, you become. Your intake of food, that is the current diet, and how it is modifying your genome and it is creating diseases, is actually evident from your body condition. If you are healthy, you will not have any problem like no knee pain, no sleep problem, no gastrointestinal problem, no cardiac issues. You will be healthy, but actually it is not. So there is somewhere something wrong in the body. So those something somewhere wrong is easily ignored or quickly fixed by a painkiller or a sleep medicine or a paracetamol or something which is a quick fix, but it doesn't fixing the problem, it is just fixing the symptoms. Yes. So DNA diet or gene diet is today a reality, it is not a dream anymore. People are implementing it and we are also taking that steps in that forward. Next slide. So we have designer diets as per the DNA, and as people have that, I told you functional medicine, how your functions are dependent on your genes, with your genotype, and with that you have a diet. Next. So nutrigenomics is that field which deals with genetic basis of diet and genetic basis of nutrition absorption. Next slide. So there are 7 main classes of nutrients in our body. These 7 classes are basically carbohydrate, protein, fat, all of us know, vitamins, minerals and water. How many of you think water is a food? Nobody thinks, except what? I will say water is the most important food. If you do not have the first 6 of them, have only water, you will still live. Because more than 65% of your body is water. If I take out the water, 65% of body is water. If that 65% becomes 50%, you die. You don't have to go 0%. 50%, if you go to sun and then drain out and get exhausted, have a swelling, you have a certain cardiac death because you will lose water. Water is the most important essential part. And today, the water which we drink has at least 1 or 2 heavy metals. 1 or 2 heavy metals. If you do analysis, you will know. Because they are piped water. Piped water, pipes are 30, 40, 50 years old. So pipe is going on giving you metals and heavy metals. Because pipe has lead, copper products, lead sulfates, all those comes into the water. Pollutions. So water is an important thing. Minerals, vitamins. The last 3 are ignored. The first 3 are always preferred. So first 3, that is carbohydrate, protein, fat, you are always worried about which rice to eat, which chapati to eat, which vegetables to eat, which meat, which eggs, all this you are worried about, milk and all. But we are not bothered about the vitamins, minerals and water. They are equally essential. Next. So nutrients and molecules which are there in your food, which gives you energy, growth, develop and reproduce. Any living organism has characteristics of growth, reproduction and death. So energy comes directly from the food, growth comes from the food, development of your organs, your entire body, as well as reproduction. So main 2 types of nutrients, if we can actually segregate, there are macronutrients and micronutrients. The 3 main categories of macronutrients I told you, the first 3, carbohydrate, protein and fat. Micronutrients are vitamins, minerals and water. Next. So vitamins are basically organic substance. What are vitamins? They are organic substance. They are essential for entire enzymatic function of human metabolism. Suppose you eat a lot of meat, or you eat egg, or eat very nice payasam. Your body lacks some kind of essential vitamins to digest that. The eating is all useless. You will not develop, you will not absorb the metabolite from there, energy from there, if you do not have these essential vitamins. So, a vitamin is a compound when cannot be synthesized in sufficient quantities, because organisms do not, most of the vitamins we can make, but some of the vitamins we cannot make or do not make as we age. So we need them as a supplement. Next. Vitamins act as hormones like vitamin D, as antioxidant like vitamin E, and they also help in cellular signaling. Like I am talking, you are listening, you are processing in your brain, you are understanding in your brain, neurotransmission, all this signaling, they are all driven by vitamins. So they are important source of a body function. Next. So there are 13 vitamins which are known, 4 fat soluble, that is vitamin K, E, D and A, and 9 are water soluble, which are vitamin C, folate group and B group. So there are 9 water soluble vitamins and 4 fat soluble vitamins. So these 13 vitamins are essential vitamins which are required in our body in less quantity, but they are required. Next. Now their source of vitamins we know, they are present in vegetables and fruits, and particularly colored vegetables they are present, particularly beta carrots and many other vitamins have, fruits has vitamin A, retinoic acids, and even alcohol has some vitamins. That's why red wine, fermented red wine is, people say it's very good, but actually why do you take red wine? You take grapes. Why do you have to take red wine? Next. So fats, there are good fats which are present in your nuts, in your fish or in your apricots, but there are bad fats which are present in junk food or processed food. Today we live on processed food. The children live on processed food. They don't eat anything which is cooked naturally. They live on processed food. Some of the people I see in the hostels, their day starts with Maggie, it ends with burger. Okay, this pizza, burger, Maggie, all these processed foods actually slowly takes them towards the graveyard, and they finally fall in the graveyard, which they don't know. So this is bad food actually we have manufactured. And you know, all this processed food, the oil is the biggest culprit, because they are fried in the oil again and again and again. Next. So there are a list of micronutrients which help us. I would not go into the details, but I have told you about zinc, about selenium, about magnesium, about vitamin D, iron, and they are all have good source, natural source in our body, but those natural sources are not there in our lunch table or dinner table. They are only there in textbooks. They are not there in our dinner table. So that's why we lack vitamins and we lack essential foods. Next. So how do they function? Your immunity is compromised because of that. We fall sick again and again. Your vision is affected. Regulation of gene expression. I told you the genes don't work properly if micronutrients don't supplement. Next. So there are rich dietary source. Next. So there are macronutrients which we know are from your essential food which we actually eat in bulk quantity, and micronutrients are the food which we ignore. But because of that ignorance, our body is not able to process the macronutrients, and that's why we suffer from diseases long term. Next. So micronutrients, as I told you, there are different sources of micronutrients, particularly blueberries, almonds, nuts and seeds. There are different eggs, egg whites. So they are broccolis, they are good source of micronutrients. Next. Now diabetes, I just touched upon diabetes. If you monitor your blood sugar level, the blood sugar level changes with every meal. You take breakfast, you take lunch, you take evening snack, you take dinner. As you go, you are actually touching 140, 130, 120, you are actually adding. But again, it is brought down by your hormonal system, insulin system. But when it is not maintained, why it is not maintained? Let me just give you the example. Today, we are living in a society which is having overfood. How many of you, when you go to any marriage, eat less? Nobody. One person is there, very healthy. Sir is there. But you eat all kinds of food. Whatever is there, at least taste little bit. Say, te kosto koregi eti mane toyar korchandi. Let me taste 1, 2. And you taste at least 20-25 different types of food. Okay, and that too at night. Similarly, our children, boys and girls, or the young generation, they are playing games at night. They are having game party nowadays. Games with their friends, video games or IPL, and they are Swiggy, Zomato, ordering pizza, Coke, burger. That is called midnight meal. Now, in our body, we do not have any system, or our body has not evolved any system to process food in the midnight. You imagine 1,000 years back, who ate in the midnight? There was no electricity. There was nothing. Who ate at midnight? Everybody ate hardly at 6:37, 7:30 maximum 8 or 9. Then they sleep and they will wake up at 4 a.m., 5 a.m. Midnight, who ate? So in our gene there is no program of eating midnight or processing midnight meal. But you are eating. You are basically eating. And the call center exhibit where the call center functions from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. They eat as lunch at 12 midnight, as lunch, because they sleep in the morning. So this is creating hormonal imbalance in our body. That's why we live in a generation where entire metabolism is imbalanced. Next slide. So we have two types of diabetes. One is inherited, it runs in your family, and one is acquired. Now, running in the family is not a diabetes which we have got from your first generation. We have actually evolved from working class, farmer class, working very hard on the field, to software class suddenly. Why suddenly? 150 years is a very less time in human cycle. If I say 50 million years we took for making this body and genome, 150 years is actually nothing. In that time, we have evolved suddenly from farmer class, working very hard, walking 15, 20, 30 kilometers to catch a bus or catch a train. Today, everything is, you are in air-conditioned house, coming out in air-conditioned car, going to an air-conditioned office, working in an air-conditioned office, going to a theatre which is air-conditioned, in car and coming back. Where are you walking? So we are purposely walking in the morning to burn our calories. This is the irony. We are no more walking for purpose. We are walking for actually creating a balance. So this farmer to software class has led to diabetes. Next slide. Yeah. So there is a genetic component to diabetes which I would say has been running in generations, and there is epigenetic component to diabetes. Both can be managed. Next. So I'm not going into the details of diabetes scientifically because of lack of time, but diabetes has cycles of epigenetic programming, and if you can reverse that epigenetic programming with balancing your certain hormones and giving you some supplements or micronutrients over a period of time with lifestyle modification, this cycle can be hacked and can be restored. We can hack it and restore it. Next slide. Next. So we can have an assay in our genetic lab to detect your cause, your status, and what are the solutions we can give. Next slide. Obesity, metabolic syndrome, which causes atherosclerosis and cardiac defects. There are certain genes, as I told you, that diabetes mellitus, fatty liver, low testosterone, and in females polycystic ovarian syndrome. These are indications of lifestyle urbanization which leads to metabolic syndrome, and this metabolic syndrome is actually an imbalance. Next slide. So we have genes which leads to abnormal fat, and that abnormal fat leads to insulin resistance. As I told you that obesity can lead to diabetes. So this is the obesity root of a person who is obese can lead to insulin resistance, early insulin resistance, and develop diabetes mellitus. And there are some genes written there. These are the genes we test in the lab. Next. So 9 out of 10 people with pre-diabetes don't know why they have it and how they have it. They simply go to a doctor when they have high sugar, and then the doctor gives them metformin and many other drugs to just decrease, or insulin, and then they start having that, okay, I have to live with the disease for and manage my diabetes. Doctor must have given them diet chart and the medicine, and that's how they live, they accept it. But they can reverse it, they can control it, that is not in their idea. Next slide. Next. I have already told about obesity risk. Next slide. So you can see that the difference between a green diet and a high protein diet. There is an American person and there is a keto diet in Greece who follows, in Europe they follow now keto diet. It is his body and it is his body. Okay, next slide. So there were studies done that people, as I told you, the children, they develop this genetic programming pretty early in their life, as early even before birth. If the mother is on a high calorie diet or have a different lifestyle, there is a program in the child, and they develop when they hit preteen, we say pre-teen PTOD, preteen obesity disorder. There we can hit it at a very early stage, and that is where they continue for the rest of their life. That is where the genetic program changes. Next slide. So if you can restrict calories, if you can do the lifestyle modification, there are now studies. Now mice can live for 18 to 20 months in the lab, laboratory mice. Or any mice, they live for 2 years maximum. So there was a study done by a lab. They had calorie restricted the mice and given certain vitamin doses and changes, genetically modified them. They have increased their lifespan up to 3.5–4 years. Now a mice living 4 years is equivalent to a human being living for 150 years. That's the comparison. Next slide. So if you have a control over your homocysteine and methylation pattern in your genome, you can control metabolism. And people test cholesterol in your body, good cholesterol, bad cholesterol, LDL. How many of you test homocysteine? If you test homocysteine, and if homocysteine is showing high, means you are suffering from metabolic imbalance, you are vitamin deficient, and if you just switch to vitamin supplementation, certain vitamin supplementation by IV, takes that for 2 weeks, your homocysteine level goes down, you feel recharged, your body slowly start coming back to the normal, and you will feel that in your own body. Next slide. So there are genetic deficiency of this enzyme methyl transferase in some people's body, and they also cannot produce enough of vitamin B6 and B12. If we give them the supplementation, their body is fine. Okay, they come back to the normal and homocysteine level goes down. Next slide. So metabolic balance, how do we balance? I was talking about so much of imbalance in our body because of your lifestyle, food. There are very simple methods of metabolic balance, restoring the metabolic balance in your body. You go to the next slide. Good genes, good eating, good exercise. These are the 3 fundamental pillars of metabolic balance. Next slide. This man, David Sinclair, you can Google him. I was talking about the mice. Now his lab, David Sinclair's lab, has basically successfully grown the lab mice to 3.5–4 years. So he has a protocol, and he has given a statement, very powerful statement 2 years ago. Once that paper was published, he gave a statement. The man or the woman who will live for 150 years is already born. It's a very powerful statement, that the man or the woman who will live 150 years on earth now is already born. So he is very confident about it, and many others, not only he, many other aging researchers are confident that we are going to have that. Next slide. So David Sinclair's work is about energy management and how we can have calorific management in our body. Cyclic AMP is a chemical, is an enzyme. You can use it as an energy sensor in our body. and how much energy your body needs. Only you supply that much and cut down excess of energy or low energy, you can balance it. Next. So we all suffer from metabolic syndrome, and metabolic syndrome leads to different kinds of problems like insulin resistance, like atherosclerosis, like your pain in the knees and different joints, and your digestion problems, sleep problem, if you go back to your basics. So if you see a child, a natural child in a village, a very natural child, when a child is there, they don't suffer much, okay? They're very young because their balance is there. Once they have 13, 14, 15, 20, 25, 30 years, we acquire so much of imbalances, that is genetic program, that we lose the track. The moment you replace and restore with your implementation, then again body is very happy to see that my vitals are restored, my essentials are restored, so I will work best. Next slide. This is the last part of my talk, hacking the sleep. There are two things which I will say a healthy person has: a good night's sleep and a hunger for food. If you are very hungry, you feel hungry and eat nicely, and if you sleep nicely, you are healthy. So, next slide. What is sleep? It's a naturally occurring altered state of consciousness characterized by decrease in awareness and responsiveness to stimuli. So we do not respond to external stimuli, but our internal body is active. It is working. You dream in your sleep, you sweat in your sleep, you feel afraid in your sleep, your heartbeat goes up in your sleep. Means your body physiology is active in your sleep. But only thing is, we are not aware of it. Next slide. So sleep physiology is hacking your hypothalamus, which controls, and it is making your sleep aware or unconscious. Now if you have injury in hypothalamus or a dysfunction in your hypothalamus in your brain, then you have either abnormal sleep for longer hours or no sleep at all. Next slide. So circadian rhythms, the rhythms which basically keeps you charged. Now our body, people have a misconception that sleep is a waste of time. We should be always awake, read, meet, work and have a productive time. Why should we waste our life by sleeping? Now the thing is, if you do not put petrol in your car or if you don't charge your battery, then the car doesn't move. Sleep is a recharge mechanism. If you do not allow the body to recharge well, then your body will deteriorate and you will have problems, chronic problems. How? Next. Yeah. So you have to have neurotransmitter balance. This is the problem. We change the balance. Because of the discovery of light, Thomas Alva Edison, day and night has become same. So people go to sleep, I will catch some sleep. What do you think? You will catch some sleep. I will catch some 3-4 hours of sleep. Don't worry about it. Your body worries about it. Your body needs the sleep on time. If you are sleeping during the day and working during the night, how much ever you sleep during the day, whichever dark situation you have, you will not hit the REM sleep. You will not hit the sleep which your body needs. So you have to have sleep properly during the sleeping hours only. Otherwise your neurotransmitter will be imbalanced. Next. So what is the sleep cycle here? Stage 1, non-REM sleep. Little deeper sleep, stage 2. Then you have REM sleep for 90 to 100 minutes. Then you have again non-REM sleep, then non-REM sleep. And then, so your sleep switches from REM sleep to non-REM sleep. Now, all the people who sleeps during the day do not hit REM sleep. It's impossible. REM sleep will be hitting only during midnight, and that too after 2-3 hours. Like you go to sleep at 10, 10:30, 11, you will hit the REM sleep by 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Okay, and that too will last about 90 minutes, 1 hour. That's it. And that is, this REM sleep is the most essential recharge mechanism. Some people have amazing quality who has yoga nidra practice. they can hit REM sleep fast. Like our Prime Minister, he sleeps less. He sleeps about 4 hours, 5 hours, but he has that training of hitting that. That's why you see all the time he's recharged. Have you seen him anytime like he's all the time recharged? Because he has that capacity. Okay, next. So there are sleep labs, and if we check the waves of your brain, there are different types of waves. There are theta waves, there are delta waves, and there are REM sleeps. So at the bottom you have the wave of REM sleep. Now rapid eye movement, eyes are rolling rapidly, but you are not aware. You are deeply sleeping. You are almost dead actually. But your body is getting that calmness, that depth, deep rest, which your body is recharging all the hormones, all the enzymes, entire cellular mechanisms get recharged. That's where we need the REM sleep. If we don't hit the REM sleep, and if you don't have REM sleep for a longer duration, you actually behave like mad persons, which most of our computer people who work at night and call centers, I don't call them normal. They're actually abnormal people. You see them, they don't have attention span. They're all the time fidgety. They get agitated, they have less attention span, they have irritable bowel syndrome, digestive disorders, sleep apnea, headache, nausea, all kinds of things. Next slide. So a newborn sleeps for 18 hours. As the child grows, the number of hours sleep gets less, but it stabilizes about 7 to 8 hours. That's where it stabilizes for the rest of the life. Pregnant women sleep little more because as the fetus grows, it needs more and more sleep and rest, so pregnant women can sleep 8+ hours, but this is the standard sleep hours we should have. Next slide. Now coming back to last 5 minutes, infrared sauna therapy. Infrared is an essential radiation which is our body is tuned to. Our rishis used to wake up in the early morning, get a sun bath. Okay. Early morning hours or the late evening hours, you have a lot of infrared in the atmosphere. Infrared is such a radiation, it can energize your entire body and restore the primordial energy needed for your cells to function. And this infrared sauna is an amazing discovery of human researchers, that if you spend about 20-25 minutes at a elevated temperature, slowly heating temperature from 25 degrees to about 55-60 degrees in a span of 25-30 minutes, you actually feel energized, you feel lighter, and your body gets a boost. Next. So this is how a chamber looks, and a person needs to hydrate itself, drink good water, go in and be there, calm, listen to music or read books, whatever, and spend about half an hour, come out. This therapy, simple therapy, this therapy restores a lot of things. First thing is, it will make you feel lighter, it decreases your pain, and it increases your immune function, your weight will be balanced, there will be weight loss if there are obese people, and then there will be detoxification. You will sweat, but the sweat will not smell. There will be no bacteria growing inside. You will not be able to smell your sweat that way. Okay, it strengthens your immune system. If diabetes, it regulates the blood sugar a little bit. And most importantly, it improves the cellular health. Every cell of your body absorbs that infrared and it increases the cellular health. Joint stiffness and muscles, they reduce pain, and it enhances metabolism, including skin problems. Okay, so sauna is a good supplementary therapy which can be used for wellness. Anybody and everybody can get a sauna, and pregnant women, little children, they are not allowed. Rest, anybody and everybody can have a sauna. Next. I told you about ionic balance in your body, that is different kinds of vitamins and micronutrients. Now they play part in hormonal regulation of your vital organs, including heart, kidney, liver, lungs. There are 5 vital organs which needs this hormonal control, and this hormone functions only when you have good ions in your body. The ions balances. How do we restore the ionic balance? Next slide. Now there are ions in these bottles. These are IV fluids, simple IV fluids. They are put it in your blood directly into your system, and they have micronutrients and vitamins. These are lifesavers. They actually basically restore the balance in your body. And these IV fluids are now latest wellness therapies. These wellness therapies are nothing but IV fluid supplementation of the micronutrients and vitamins which are precisely needed for your body, which will regulate your gene function. Next. There is another new therapy called ozone therapy. Now ozone is a triplet oxygen gas which is found on the upper layer of the atmosphere. Most of the oxygen is created from there. Now ozone, little bit of ozone mixed with natural oxygen can be anti-inflammatory, it can be anti-aging, and it can boost the immune system and improve circulation. So ozone is also a very good therapy which has come up in the last 4 or 5 years only. Ozone therapy is an important area which people are now going into wellness. So as I told you, the genes, the behavior and life is a complex wave, and your stress, your impulse, your mind, they all control your hormones and your enzymes and your proteins. So a happy mother gives rise to a happy kid, a stressed mother gives rise to a stressed kid, traumatic kid. These are all known. But how? At the genetic level we can know that. There are researches done. So a cancer patient, if given good motivational therapy and support therapy, gets cured faster than a cancer patient who is all the time traumatized. You will not live. You have only 2 months to live. Your vitals are not doing good. He will die like that. So therefore balancing and putting the mind in a positive frame with supportive therapies like this makes you well. Next slide. So we are only looking at the tip of an iceberg, but the bottom is the real root cause. So every disease, every disorder has a huge root cause in the bottom. There we have to reach, and there we have to find solutions. Then only the upper part will be managed. Otherwise, no. So in the society, we have apparently healthy people who think they are healthy, but there a lot of people are in the bottom of the iceberg. Clinically, they are symptomatically okay, but basically they are not okay. We have to find out them and make them well. Next slide. So we can live longer and younger, and the hope is real. So longevity project is a real project happening around the world. People want to increase not how long you are living, but how well you are living to the end of your life. That is important. I must have taken a lot of time, but whatever little bit I have done research in my life, I have shared with you. Thank you so much.